Destruction of Prarabdha Bhog. A question. Whatever is ordained by Prarabdha that have begun to fructify in the present life has to be suffered. What is the way of getting rid of that? Pujya Gurudev replies, if inevitable suffering is to be stopped, there is only one way, and that is good deeds. For example, he says, in your store, you start storing grains such that rice is at the lowermost level, then grams, and then wheat. Now, if you wish to take out your grains, first of all, you will get wheat. In the same way, if you start performing good deeds, as a result, you will reap the fruits of good deeds first. As the lowermost grains of the store will decompose and be destroyed. In the same way, the result of the bad deeds performed previously will be destroyed. But one has to do good deeds and at the same time perform devotional practices. Unjust actions and their consequences. Some people are habitually unjust in their actions and they suffer its consequences. Even by mistake, if injustice has been done, its result has to be borne. But everyone is prone to make mistakes. Is there anyone who never commits a mistake? No, there isn't. But one has to make a strong determination not to repeat them. Ocean of misery and ocean of happiness. The mind is like a sparkling river. The surface of this mental river is always ruffled by the waves of mental modifications or thoughts, known as vrittis in the language of yoga. These vrittis flow in two directions, one towards the ocean of samsara or misery, and the other towards the ocean of kalyan or happiness. The ocean of samsara is at a lower level. Hence, our vrittis or the thought currents reach there early, whereas the ocean of happiness is at a higher level. How could we send our vrittis there? To do this, we have to raise a dam in between by the grace of Sadguru, this grace of the scriptures, and above all, the grace of God. Then our vrittis shall be forced to rise higher towards the ocean of happiness. If our sanskars are strong, then through study of scriptures, our detachment is strengthened. Good sanskars lift the mind upwards. The opposite sanskars then get suppressed on their own. Our duty is to break those lower sanskars of our thought waves and turn them upwards. Impure thoughts are to be converted into pure, healthy thoughts. Both good and bad thought waves rise in our chitta. All our thoughts leave fine markings on our mind. So, always have good thoughts in the mind. Do not allow the flow of good thoughts to be affected by occasional bad thoughts. The thoughts turn into sanskars and are stored below the nabi. These are disintegrated by jap and meditation. So, always keep on observing your thoughts minutely. Be careful that there is no lack of concentration. Sanskars are quickly acquired, but it takes time to erase them. For an aspirant, spiritual disciplines are rules necessary for developing love for God. When love is developed to the maximum, there is no necessity for rules. If one is unable to pray at home, how can he do so in the forest? Ishgati, meaning surrender to God. Man performs his duties and leaves the results in the hands of God. This is Ishgati or surrender to God completely. The aim should be to go beyond all dualities, to be indifferent towards happiness and sorrow, profit and loss, pain and pleasure, and so on. To know what is real happiness, this attitude of remaining undisturbed under all circumstances leads one to a state of infinite joy. Nature and physical well being. A physician cannot cure the disease, he can only assist. The rest is done by nature. Doctor performs the operation, puts a bandage, and leaves it. Healing is done by nature. Going against nature is the cause of disease. If your habits of eating, drinking, working, resting, etc., are against the laws of nature, you are liable to diseases. Chandaben asks Gurudev, taking whatever food that comes before us, is that not renunciation? Pujya Gurudev replies, see, whatever sattvic food we take, which purify one's existence, gives us strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such food is wholesome and pleasing to the heart. From that, sattvic particles or cells are made in our body. From the cells of sattvic nature, our lives too become sattvic. And on taking food of the tamasic nature, the food that causes distress, misery, and diseases, our bodies first and then our nature or our habits become tamasic. You should give up oil, chilies, etc. He says, जैसा खाओगे अन्न वैसा बनेगा मन, जैसा करोगे संग वैसा चढ़ेगा रंग. This means, as the food you take, so becomes your mind. As the company you keep, so becomes your character. Our intentions should not be bad. If we think ill of anyone, then we harm our own selves. Because we have made physical enjoyment our utmost goal of life, there is so much of suffering. Aarti is nothing but praying to God with a yearning heart. The lamp should be waved 7 times. True happiness lies in attaining Ram. 27th and 28th February 1953, Guru Mandir, Mumbai. चक्रव्यूह भीतर फंसे शत्रु कीजे नाश, आए पड़ी सिर आपने छोड़ पराई आश. This means you are caught in the Chakravyuh of Sansar, the formidable enemy like lust, anger, greed, and so on are standing upon your head. Be brave, fight and destroy the enemy yourself without depending on others. Always remember your Guru and God. By obeying Guru's orders, Gargi, Maitri, Chudala, etc. were perfected. Do jap as much as you can. Take refuge of the God. Go beyond dualities. What is the purpose of human life? Even animals do activities like eating, playing, sleeping, procreation, etc. Human body is for realizing God. Where lies true happiness? True happiness lies in attaining God. That happiness is permanent. As the mind becomes more and more introspective and the inner treasure is revealed, it begins to acquire peace. In the beginning, while doing jap, many stray thoughts will come to stop the flow of jap. After a time, jap and thoughts will go hand in hand. Then, slowly, thoughts will subside and jap will be more. Then, ultimately, undisturbed jap will continue. With enhanced practice, the repetition of mantra will be automatic. Whatever activities take place within the organs of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell leave an impression on the mind. In three ways, actions are done: by one's own will, by others' will, or by divine will. The will to do something crops up in the mind first, and then the required conditions are created. Thought currents create vibrations or desires. The world is nothing but a desire. This desire is the cause of all sufferings. If we want to protect ourselves from the miseries of the world, we must stop these vibrations. Whether you accept it as true or false, or as something indeterminate, still you will have to leave this world at some time or the other. If you do not leave it now, you will leave it when the rod of Yamraj falls on you. Therefore, our aim should be as to how we could experience divine bliss. When we have the firm conviction that there is nothing much worthwhile, our external activities will cease. When God is pleased, everyone is pleased. When God is enraged, everyone else is enraged. To realize Him, intense non attachment is needed. As long as there are responsibilities, fulfill them and endeavor to proceed to forward by acquiring divine qualities. Try to proceed according to your standard. Otherwise, here and hereafter, both will be lost. God's inspiration tells us to acquire divine qualities. Our sanskars rise in the mind as per God's inspiration. Whether we act accordingly or not is up to us. Good sanskars that rise in the mind according to our actions and are in accordance with the scriptures are divine inspirations. Annihilation, that is, removing of ego and anger. From eternal time, ego is lying within our mind as sanskar. The way to destroy it is to remember God, chant His name, and meditate. Question: how could anger, jealousy, etc. be destroyed? Pujya Gurudev answers: by control of thoughts and speech. Seeing and hearing something unfavorable causes anger, which in turn causes impurities of the mind. At the beginning, when you are angry, there is some reasoning capacity. But when it is over and above your head, it overpowers you. Your conscience is destroyed, and there is utter downfall of man. Whenever you are angry, control your speech and try to keep silent. At the same time, remember God's name and pray for His help. Anger increases by exchange of words. Continue jap in silence. With a sincere heart, think over your own mistakes. Repent so that anger does not come again. The thoughts which arise in the mind after the anger, if they arise earlier, the anger subsides at once. He is a fool who, being sensible, does not understand. Pure attachment too becomes a cause of bondage. It is the result of our past karmas that we feel happy or unhappy. He is really a poor man who does not possess anything except wealth. 10th December to 15th December 1953, Guru Mandir. Sandhya, that is, worship at dawn and dusk. Perform Sandhya regularly. Do not underestimate the strength of Gayatri Mantra. With that, one can attain self realization. What is Sandhya? Worship of God at dawn and at dusk, when the meeting of the day and the night takes place. That is the usual meaning of Sandhya. But Sandhya actually means connecting our thoughts or the mind, which is engrossed in the worldly affairs, with God. Shifting the mind from the earthly world to God is Sandhya. There are several meanings of the Gayatri Mantra, but for you, this is enough. O all pervasive God, inspire my intellect always to perform noble deeds. Be careful about time and truth. Birth takes place within a moment, and death also takes place within a moment. How much time we simply waste uselessly. Be careful, therefore, about each and every moment of your life. Spiritual practices should be continued without a break. Even if there is a gap of a day, we shall lag far behind. Impure thoughts rising during meditation is due to weakness of the mind. They should be stopped by jap. Sleep should be dreamless. Then fewer thoughts will arise and meditation will be perfect. Be free from desires. Then the sleep will be dreamless. Whatever you do, think that God is the doer. He gets it done through you. One must be free of ego. Remember your goal always and do jap. One should always remember that worship of God is the aim of life. Everyone enjoys the fruits of his destiny. Then, what is there to worry about? Those who want to do spiritual practices should always observe yam and niyam. Satya, that is truthfulness, ahimsa, non-killing, asatya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, that is continence, aparigraha, that is non-receiving. These are the five yams. Just as you have seen something, just as you have heard about something, or just as you have inferred about something, to repeat them exactly by your speech or to conceive in your mind is Satya. The speech that becomes the cause of death or undue damages to living beings can never be called Satya. Not harassing living beings by the body, mind, and speech is ahimsa. Dhyan, sadhana, meditation. Yoga are of four kinds: Hatha Yoga, Lay Yoga, Raj Yoga, and Mantra Yoga. Tratak, etc. fall under Hatha Yoga. Don't be under the wrangle of Hatha Yoga. By the control of the mind, prana, that is breathing, gets controlled automatically. And when prana is under control, the mind also gets under control. Do jap as much as you can. You should have a japa jap, that is jap done mentally with the breathing in and out in a rhythmic way continuously. Meditate at the point between the eyebrows as much as you can. Arise and practice. You will surely reach Him. Is there anything a man cannot accomplish? He can do everything. Merging your mind in God, do Nam Jap with love. In solitude, call on Him with a yearning heart. Cry for Him, He will surely listen. As many letters are there in the mantra, at least repeat the mantra so many lakh number of times. Do jap with all reverence. While doing jap, if you have a feeling of peace and happiness within your mind, know that you are progressing. Read spiritual literature. You will get guidance on your own. Aphorisms. Good holy company leads to good sanskars. From good sanskars, good thoughts arise in the mind, making the whole life blessed and beautiful. Surrender to God turns even a crooked man into a holy and reverential person. Death, love, and sleep, these three do not come on calling and can't even be prevented when they arrive. 14th to 18th April 1954, Guru Mandir, Mumbai. Bribery is spreading nowadays due to lack of moral virtues. It won't go until it is considered as a sin. Unless people are religious minded, corruption cannot be destroyed. It cannot be stopped by law. Only one person can do this. For that, one has to observe moral values himself first, and then one must have the courage to preach the moral principles to the masses, giving up all selfish motives. Make your mind fully determined to achieve this and do your duties diligently. Inspiration and assistance comes from God. If we are really strong spiritually, then we will surely win and influence others. Try to give up bad company. With a firm determination, one can make his desired plans successful. To win and bring change in the human heart, we need politeness and forbearance. The purity of one's heart will influence others. Downfall from conceit. Self conceit, that is to praise oneself, brings downfall of man. If we keep saying, I am like this and I have done this, our ability will not increase by telling others. The fragrance of a flower spreads on its own. A flower does not tell others. Never be proud of yourself. Parvati Khimji Ka Jai Siya Ram.